Jim Jones said he's more powerful than Nas, and everything shifted. 50 Cent didn't talk. He posted a federal document. Now one name's resurfaced. Individual 1. The wiretap, the silence, the setup.
I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap circles around. You don't want no smoke.
He enjoying that 150 million, 200 million.
Okay then, so then leave me alone while I'm on the field.
You was effing with him. He wasn't bothering you.
Know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them, some of them know.
Jim Jones was never better than Nas. Jim Jones will never be better than Nas. And this is coming from somebody that's not a Nas fan. I love Dipset. I love the Diplomats. I love Bird Gang. But we not about to start rewriting history because Jim Jones got confidence.
Jim Jones pulled up to Shannon Sharpe's show and dropped a bomb. He claimed he's more impactful than Nas, not just popular, but more valuable to the entire culture. And the moment those words left his mouth, everything changed. 0.50 cent. He didn't post a meme, didn't say a single name. He just uploaded one thing. An old government document right on Instagram and let the streets do the math. Now fans are digging wiretaps, old clips, everything's popping back up, and Jim, he's in the gym, talking diss tracks, barking back like he's suiting up for war, and Rikers. But make no mistake, this ain't just about Nas, and it sure isn't just about ego. This feels like 50 Cent reminding the whole industry who's really untouchable, and why certain names keep escaping indictments. Jim might have lit this fire just to prove a point, but now he may have set off something way bigger than music. There's a reason why Jim Jones mentioning Nas hits different, because that tension. It didn't just show up yesterday. This wasn't some random generational jab. This beef runs all the way back to 2002. That's when Nas jumped on Hot 97 and randomly dissed Cam single quotes Ron. Called his album trash for no reason at all. And just like that, Dipset went full attack mode. Jim Jones. He didn't wait. He dove in headfirst. From there, it got messy. Nas and Dipset started throwing shots through mixtapes. But Jim, he made it personal. He threatened to slap the kufi off Nas. And he kept that same energy. We fly high and it's more than music. But here's the twist. Jim always admired Nas just 1 year ago. He wasn't saying a single bad thing about him. So what changed? And more importantly, why is 50 Cent involved now?
I never got to see Nas. I never got to sit down and have a conversation with Nas and things like that. I had called you about it and things like that. That was like still one of the people that I never got to have a conversation throughout my history of rap and things like that. I think I would love to have a conversation with Nas. I wouldn't know if he knows it, but Nas was one of my all-time favorite rappers coming up and things like that.
I've heard you say that.
Since the barbecue and things like that. Like he really put the whole dope boy rap, crack hustler, get fresh rap into perspective before anybody else.
But admiration? Yeah. That turned into shade real quick. Everything flipped. The vibe changed. The respect. Gone in a flash. It all went left the moment Jim Jones showed upon Fat Joe and Jadakiss' podcast. And that's when Fat Joe decided to stir the pot. He threw out a question, one of those questions. The kind that doesn't sound like much. But underneath, it's straight up gasoline on an old fire. And Jim, he didn't hold back. He ran with it. No filters, no hesitation. That's when the tone shifted from respect to real talk, from praise to problems.
I recently saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
that's my young boy
big hits.
He's wild.
Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying, Nas is like a god.
In my era too.
That alone could have stayed on the timeline, could have faded out like just another hot take. But Jim wasn't done yet. He couldn't help himself. He couldn't wait to keep going. He had more to say, more heat to unload, and he was just getting started. Instead of letting the moment pass, Jim doubled down. He kept pushing the topic like he was itching to make it personal. And at that point, it wasn't just podcast chatter anymore. It was intentional. Now fans are watching closer than ever because when a little shade turns into a full-blown speech, you know something deeper is brewing.
But remember, Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade.
Yes.
So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like you did, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan, period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you got to realize that your rivals will be idols, and not to take anything away from that, I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation.
Then, out of nowhere, Jim dropped one of the most reckless takes hip-hop's heard in years. The kind of take that doesn't just stir the pot. It flips the whole table. Fans were stunned. The timeline, instant chaos.
Came into light and started going crazy that these kids love me. They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them. Some of them, though.
You know what I mean?
A lot of them, though.
Jim didn't just say he was more current. He went even further. He placed himself above Nas. Yes, that Nas, Queensbridge royalty, the man behind Illmatic, God's Son, King's Disease, the legend still selling out Madison Square Garden, ... in his 50s. But Jim, he wasn't stepping back. He didn't pause, didn't blink. In fact, he doubled down.
No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record, then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries, then check all them entries and And I'm not taking nothing away from nobody, but I hear the comparisons and then be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit about the industry. I've been putting on.
That interview didn't just stir the pot. It flipped it over and lit it on fire. And before the smoke even cleared from that podcast, Jim popped up somewhere else. A whole new platform. This time, Shannon Sharpe's Nightcap, and Jim was ready to double down. He slid onto Nightcap with Shannon and Chad Ochocinco. John Santo explained himself. But instead, he ended up pouring even more gas on the fire. And Shannon, he didn't let him coast. He opened the conversation by saying,
"Can I ask you a question, Jim?
Mm-hmm.
You smoke, right?
Yeah.
Were you smoking when you said you better than Nas?
I might have been a little bit.
But what he said next, it made fans actually pause the episode. Mid-sentence. Mid-scroll. Mid-bite. Because the way he said it felt different.
I'm way more influential than Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this type of. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that bullshit.
But listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Mm-hmm. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit of run.
But just when you think Jim's finished comparing legacies. He hits us with one more hot take. He starts pulling up old Dipset versus Nas beef from the early 2000s, claiming he was always a bigger Nas fan. But now, he says he's surpassed him in impact. Then he tries to spin it, starts praising Nas's fashion game, calls him one of the flyest ever. But no matter how many compliments he throws, Jim keeps circling back to one thing. Nas doesn't move the streets like I do.
But Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like,
ain't no shame in that. There a lot of folks came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear. And we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that.
But Shannon, he wasn't having it. No nods. No easy pass. No playing along. He looked Jim dead in the face. And pushed back hard.
You've been at this thing, but lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah, but look how you dress. Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in.
I can be in the church house. You can't F with Nas lyrics. I don't know who told you that. Now look, I know you on that good stuff, but you're not seeing Nas.
Meanwhile, Jim was salty. Real salty. So salty. He started clowning Shannon. Over his clothes. Out of nowhere, he turned the heat off himself by roasting Shannon's outfits. That wasn't deflection. That was full-on distraction.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than Nas.
It don't matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Nobody from Dipset gonna take you over Nas. Nobody from the Diplomats but you.
Hold on, Jim. Hold on.
That shirt too tight.
Hold on.
Jim. You want to go back to I Really Mean It? I Really Mean It started. We could go back to the history, bro.
But you didn't even say that, bro.
By this point, Ochocinco was just posted up. Sitting there, watching Shannon and Jim go at it. No words. No interruptions. Just that look like, yo, is this really happening? He knew better than to jump in because this was getting personal.
I'm still playing at a high level. You check my record.
You jumping up and
I'm still playing at a high level.
I'm rapping.
I'm rapping at a high level. You better check my stats, bro. I will run circles around Nas rapping right. I will run circles around Nas rapping right now. Right now, I will run Saturn around Nas right now rapping.
Then Jim crossed the line. He said Shannon only brought him on 4 clicks, 4 views. And that made Unk explode. The energy shifted. The room got tense. You could feel it through the screen. That wasn't just TV anymore. That was real heat.
Hey, this is the biggest podcast you ever been on. You know podcast you been on bigger than this one.
Hold on. We off topic.
Hold on. This is what I do.
You see you in your feelings?
When you get big, you get invited to Club Shay Shay.
This is what I do.
Nas get invited to Club Shay Shay.
But then Shannon flipped it. In a blink, he went from podcast host to straight up opponent. Because if Jim wanted smoke, Shannon was ready to drag him right into the gym. Jim said he was better than Nas. Shannon didn't just challenge his bars. He's challenged his body. This wasn't about music anymore. This was about muscle pride, respect.
You gotta start buying baggy your clothes, big fella. You too big, man.
You talk about you in the gym. Now you want to get me? You want me to see me in the gym?
Oh, we can do
that. Since you like to talk that ish, now come see me in the gym.
We talking about working out. We talking about working out or strength. What we talking about? Working out or strength?
Work however you want to do it.
We talking about
since you got money.
And we talking about
put your money where your mouth is.
So you talking about working out?
Run them stacks.
You talking about working out? I burn you. You talking about working out or strength? Because you probably can lift a lot more than me.
Whatever.
You're bigger than me. You're probably stronger than me.
Whatever.
But if you talk about working out, I burn you.
This ain't what you do. This ain't what you want. You are doing good when you talk about Nas and Jada. You don't want to see this.
Instead of clapping back at 50 directly, Jim tried to twist the conversation into a Jim flex. He challenged Shannon to a workout war, trying to prove he's still relevant, still dominant, just in a different arena. But while Jim was out here putting on a Jim show, 50, he'd already made his move behind the scenes. And that one mysterious label name still sitting heavy in the background. Meanwhile, the audience was going crazy in the comments. The internet was eating it up. The fact that a retired NFL Hall of Famer was now the one defending Nas. One fan said, Shannon did what Fat Joe and Jada should have done. Jones. You delusional. Shannon, thank you for speaking up. And that's facts. Because why were they so quiet in that interview? Meanwhile, Minus 50 was watching the whole circus unfold from the shadows. And no, he wasn't laughing. But just when everyone thought it was done being funny, it got petty. Because that's when fans resurfaced the clip.
When it got, honestly, I can't, if it was like Jim Jones, imagine putting a pen to paper to write about him. He was so nice about him. How did you do that? What's the first sentence? What the fuck do you write about him? I'm not anxious to hear the Jim Jones diss record. I'm like, used to have so nervous was like B.I.G., Pop, right? Even Cannabis, like Eminem, used to have you like, if we go at it, dog, we gotta go hard. You know what I'm saying? But these Jim Jones, I respect you getting your money. You're like, exactly, right?
That was the ultimate disrespect. Jim didn't just get ignored by Nas back in the day. He got laughed off the stage. And in 2025, that same energy is back in circulation. But it didn't stop there. While Nas stayed quiet and Shannon kept hitting the gym, someone else was watching. From the shadows, the moment 50 Cent heard Jim say he was better than Nas, he didn't even blink. He just laughed. Dug into his bottomless archive of petty paysel and pulled out one of the most controversial rumors in hip-hop history. He called Jim Individual One and the internet lost IT. Because if you know Individual One ain't just a nickname. It's a federal label. Straight out of a Tekashi 69 wiretap back in 2018. During the 9 Trey Bloods trial, prosecutors played a phone call. They claimed it featured Jim Jones, though his name was never said in court. Instead, they used the code Individual One. And in that call, someone was allegedly telling gang members to violate Tekashi for turning his back on the crew. Jim's voice was never officially confirmed. He was never charged, but the blogs knew, streets remembered, and 50 never let it go. So now, with Jim flexing on podcasts and trying to bait Nas into a public fight, 50 saw the perfect chance to remind everybody the streets don't forget. He dug into his IG vault and reposted that one meme he had once deleted fast that it said, "So that's why they ain't pull him in. Say it ain't so. Jimmy, throw it." Back to 2019, when the Shade Room shared updates from Tekashi's trial, a verified court reporter claimed Tekashi named Jim Jones as a 9-tray member, and 50% he couldn't resist. Then came the infamous clip of 50 Cent looking absolutely terrified.
"I'm hiding out in Texas. Please, whatever you do, don't tell them I'm in San Antonio. Don't tell them I'm staying at the Four Seasons. Don't tell them, please, don't tell them, man, because it's just so much pressure on me right now. I don't know what to do.
He literally wrote, "I'm afraid for my life." I mean, Jimmy is gang, the internet, dying with laughter. But Jimmy, he was twitching. And here's where the story takes a turn. Because 50 didn't start this beef with Nas. He's had unfinished business with Jim for years. And this Nas moment, it gave him the perfect excuse to start dragging Jim all over again. Throw it back to 2007. Things got messy when 50 Cent brought Jim Jones and Juelz Santana on stage. During a G-Unit show, right in the middle of Dipset's internal collapse, saw that as pure disrespect. The crew was already cracking behind the scenes, and 50 made it public. Then came 2019, Tekashi 69's federal trial. Jim Jones gets labeled individual one in a wiretapped phone call played in court. He was never officially charged, but the name stuck, and the internet ran wild with snitching rumors. Jim saw every post 50 made, stayed quiet for a minute, then he posted a classic Bird Gangira photo dripping in Dipset energy. The caption, "Why you keep lying? LOL. I'm going back to sleep. Free mail matrix till it's reversed." That's a shout out to a longtime friend doing 11+ years on racketeering charges. Translation. Jim was saying 50's building a fake story, but he wasn't done. He dropped another Jim flex. With this caption, "Somebody tell Shannon Sharpe, don't start ducking now. You gonna talk like a podcaster or walk what you talk? My sneakers tied. You already challenged me in front of the world. Might as well finish the job, champ." Ocho Cinco chimed in to said, "Keep it off camera. Let's run it." Private. His athlete legacy's on the line. Jim, he said, "Size don't matter where I'm from. Run it." So while 50 was trolling from the sidelines, Jim was gearing up like he was ready for war. Then to top it off, Jim dropped this. "If you 40 and up arguing with me about Nas, you already lost. Y'all fell for the bait. My streams go up every time y'all go viral. I'm teaching you older artists how marketing works. Y'all stuck in the past, mad at how we move now. Tighten up." And the caption? "I said what? ISAIDPS. I'll wrap circles around any artist from my era. Whoever steps in the booth, bring your bag. This game ain't free. We outside every day." But here's the craziest part. Nas still silent. No replies. No reactions. Just watching. Meanwhile, Jim still baiting, still flexing, still calling himself more influential. So if Nas ever does respond, this wouldn't just be a diss track. It would be a lyrical execution, and now, even the fans are calling Jim out.
"Yeah, Jimmy boy, you should have never brought this up. Y'all are only 3 years apart, and Nas is just like murdering you. You asked us to look up the stats, and here they are. Like Jim Jones, like you got a couple songs. I mean, like literally it's a couple. But we're talking about Nas. Let me show y'all Nas's last projects. Nas been getting it in since 2018. Jimmy, when the last time you put out an album? Oh, would you look at that? You have been dropping music. You've really been dropping music. But nobody's heard it. Nobody's listening, bro."
Right now, Jim, still baiting. Nas, still silent, and 50. Still playing Puppet Master in the shadows. Because if that unreleased wiretap really exists, Jim might have just talked himself into more than a diss track while he's rapping. While he's flexing, 50's been quiet. Too quiet. And when 50 gets silent, that's when the bomb drops. So now the question is, will Nas finally step in and end it with bars? Or will 50 let the streets handle Jim, and just leak the truth when it's already too late to stop it?